Now, okay, guys and girls, hope you're all well. Hope you can all hear and see me perfectly fine. I appreciate every single one of you, taking the time to come on and jump on this call this evening. Someone's saying get a shave. I think it adds takes me to at least a 9.5 in my opinion. Whatever you think is up to you. But I appreciate you all taking the time out. Again, Sunday sessions, we're doing some live trading tonight, going through the market, breaking it down, sharing some stuff from last week into next week, the mindset, the psychology that it takes to become a trader consistently and making money in this markets. For those of you who've never seen me before, I've been doing this now 9 years. It's a full-time gig. Make enough money off it not to worry about income to an extent. Again, past profits do not guarantee future results. We're not financial advisors. We're not here to tell you that this is going to work for you. But what I am here to tell you is if you follow the system, follow the strategy, follow what's in front of you by those who've done what you've already wanted to do, this journey becomes a hell of a lot easier. So I can see Matthew. I can see the light blinding my eyes. Off the top of his head. So well, there's a few guys on here actually on the camera that where I can see the head is. I can see Stephen, I can see Paul, I see Matthew, I can see David. Andrew's nearly there. But guys, I appreciate every single one of you taking the time out on a Sunday evening, just before or just as Coronation Street's starting. So if you can hear and see me loud and clear, drop a one in the chat. Matthew, if you want to request to share your screen, I'll ask you to unmute. Add spotlight, and then we are good to go.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. Good evening, Bradley.
Can I hear you? Hello?
Hang on a minute.
All right. Can anyone hear Matthew? Drop a one. Make sure I can hear him. Is it not just me? All right. Okay. Good. We're all good. It's my audio. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, if there's anyone up to any extracurricular activities this evening, you can turn your camera off. That'd be great. I will share my screen and we'll get into it. Send request.
There you go, mate. You can do it now.
Right. Right then, guys. Hope we're well. I will keep it short and sweet tonight. I know it's Sunday. It's extremely hot, especially in my office, even with an air conditioning unit behind me. Let's move over to the chart I need. Right. What I want to talk to you about today is exactly the same thing we've done over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Not much is going to change. We're going to add in maybe a tiny slight extra layer of complexity, but that is it. If this is your first time on the call today, then you are going to be listening to the first part of the strategy we're going to be talking about. What I want to bring to your attention first is the notes that are in front of you. Okay. This is how we need to be. If you want a screenshot, that'd be helpful. Write your notes down, look back at them at a later time. What we need to ensure that we are approaching every single trade with consistency. We need to ensure that we follow the same structure process for entering, managing, and entering and using that trade specifically the same way we did as the previous one, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you think the market looks like, regardless of the previous outcome. And that bit is probably the most important part in this point that I'm talking about right now. If we've just hit a stop loss, which by the way is not a big deal in the market, okay, stop losses are absolutely necessary. They are like seatbelts in a car. They're there to keep you safe. They're not sign that we're wrong. It's a sign that, say, for example, we're in a buy position. All it is a sign of a higher probability that it was a sell rather than a buy. There was enough buyers to push price to the point that we wanted it to go to. Doesn't mean it's not about being right or wrong. It's about higher probability. I want you to understand that you need to respect the technical validity of each of these setups. A trade remains valid as long as the structure holds. And again, if we hit a stop loss, it just simply marks where, do you know what? We don't want to risk any more money in the market to see if it's going to go our way. It means we don't want to be in that trade anymore. It's doing us a favor. You should be thankful for it rather than have a negative connection with it. I want you guys to always maintain the correct position size. If your equity goes up 5K, yes, you can increase your lot size to what you feel comfortable with. But if you win 3 or 4 trades back to back, I don't want to see sporadic increasing of that lot size. I don't want to see you lowering the lot size if you hit a stop loss. The only time you use a slightly lower lot size is if I specifically say use low risk. The reason for that is that we'll be entering the market at a highly volatile area or timing, or that we've had 6 or 7 trades back-to-back wins. If we're still going to get in the market, we're not going to walk away. We need to lower our risk because we don't want to be then ending the day with more losses than wins, which should never happen if you manage these trades correctly. But that is the only time that you should maybe alter your lot sizes if I guide you to do so. Obviously, the size that you choose is completely your choice. All I am saying when I say use low risk is it's slightly less than you've been using for that part of the day. I want you to get used to, and I know a lot of you are, which is great, and you're on this call for the first time today, this is your first trading session, you're going to enter twice. We're going to talk about more of that in a minute. And if you are, maybe you're getting a bit seasoned with the technique now, you can enter maybe a third time and obviously take your first entry to TP. But again, we'll talk about that in a minute. The last bit I want to talk to you about, and I've mentioned this quite a few times, is taking as many trades as possible. The chances are, if you look at our win rate from last week, which is arguably, I would suggest, low for us. We normally talk about a 90% to 95% win rate. As you can see, we hit more TP1s than usual this week as well, because we've had some very up and down market conditions, a lot of sideways movement. What I want you to ensure is that you're taking as many of these trades as possible. If that means you need to get uncomfortable getting up a bit early because I trade from 5 o'clock, then so be it. One key point I want to point out is financial freedom is given with trading. Time freedom in relation to what you expect and in relation to what people pitch it as on social media is complete garbage. The market does not care if you want to go on holiday and you only want to trade when you're on holiday. The market does not care if you can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. An opportunity will present itself when the market is ready to present itself, not based off our schedule. So with all those tips out of the way, I'm going to get rid of that. So if anyone wants to screenshot that quickly before I delete it, do so. Give you a minute to do that. Get rid of that and let's get rid of that. Right, let's move on to the entries of the signals. So as you can see, let me move the faces out of the way, sorry. As you can see, what we have in front of us is one of our buy zones. Don't worry about why it's a buy zone. It's a buy zone. I've just sent a signal into the group at 3303 to 3209 buy now. So we're going to use the replay function to go back and test this one out. Okay, let's do that. Let's go here, number one. Brilliant. So I'm waiting for the price to come into our zone. It's tapped into our zone. This is where I've sent you the buy signal. As soon as you see buy at 3303 to 3299, you're going to open up your MT4, your MT5 on your phone. You're going to make sure that the first four digits, 3303, match where the price is at when we sent it, or anywhere in this range up to 3299, you can enter also. Let's say, for example, it's at 3303. I want you to open up a position at 3303. This is your first entry. Okay? You are now in the market. Then what I want you to do is open up your MT4 and MT5, and I want you to set a buy limit, or you can manually wait to see if price comes to this zone to enter another buy position. So let's play it out and see what we get. So price came to 3299, as you can see this area here. So we are now in the market at 3299 area and in the market at 3303. Maybe I'll speed this up a little bit because that's going to take a little bit too long. There's no lecture in between. We'll just have to be a bit patient. Okay. So now our first entry is in at this stage, now in profit. It's actually a TP1. What I want you to do if you're a beginner, as soon as if the trade activates both layers and you have a better entry at 3299 and an entry at 3303, as soon as your 330 entry comes into break even or a small profit, if you are a beginner, you're going to take this entry out at break even. Because the only reason we had that first entry was guarantee entry into the market to an opportunity for us to get profit. Now we have a better entry. The first entry is no longer serving you. It is only increasing your risk. What it also means is if price does reverse and we hit our stop loss, which is down here at 3296, it means your stop loss is much smaller. It's only 30 pips or 40 pips. If we hit it from here, it's 60 or 70. As soon as your first entry, if you're new, this is your first training session today, your first entry, you're going to delete it. You're going to break it out, you can take it out at break even. If you're not new, you've been in the group a while, and this is maybe your third or fourth training session, you're going to leave the initial entry to run to TP1 and you're going to close it there. With your best entry now, we are at TP1. I want you maybe to close some partial profits or make a decision on what take profit target you want to head for. That is completely up to you. If you look at the statistics over the last 4 months, much higher probability of our trades go to full TP3 than they do just TP1. Maybe some slight advice as a beginner, you should aim for TP2. It's completely up to you what you aim for, but TP2 is not a bad place to be taking profit or at least partial profit. Once the trade, for me, this is personally what I will do. Once the trade is in about 100 to 120 pips profit, so that's about this area here. Now I'm going to set my stop loss to break even on this trade and take 60 to 80% out of the market. My stop loss is at break even, and then I will let the rest of the position ride to TP3 and the runner targets. Either hits my runner targets or TP3, or it hits my stop loss. There's no in between. This isn't about this one trade. This is about discipline for future trades. This system that I am teaching you is a mechanical system, and it teaches you to take you out of that equation. It's going to teach you to have a mechanical strategy, a mechanical entry model into the market that you're going to use time and time and time again. Now, what I like to compare trading to is like when you start to learn to drive a car. When you first start to learn to drive a car, you don't know where the indicators are, you don't know where the accelerator is, you don't know which button does what, right? Now, in time, with enough practice, that becomes second nature. You don't think about when you brake. You don't think about when you change gear. And in time, after maybe 50 to 100 trades, which is not going to take long, you will be doing this stuff automatically. You'll be placing these trades without even thinking, using the mechanical strategy that I'm teaching you. So I'll play it back just one more time on the long position so we can have another look at it. And we'll go on to a big one. Okay, where's all that just gone? Ah, there it is. Okie dokie. Let's play it back. So, as you can see, price has reached the signal area, 303. You're going to get out your MT4 MT5. You're going to enter the market at this level. You're then going to set a buy limit at 3299, or wait for it to manually come into the first 4 digits. As we already know, this one comes straight in, takes our second entry. Perfect. Right, at this stage, now my first entry, my worst entry means I'm taking it out at break even. If you're new, if you're not new, you can let this one ride to TP1. Then what we do is we let our best entry run to whatever take profit target you want to set, and you should be consistent with that. You should set a plan and stick to it based off your own risk management strategy. Let's have a look at one more example, but in a short example. We've got a sell position. This again. Back. We'll use this 50%. We'll use this example. As you can see, I've sent a sell signal 3327 to 330. You can get out your phone, make sure that price action is at the first 4 digits or anywhere between that range, because there is a chance by the time I've sent the signal, you might get a better entry than I have. So you're going to set your first one at 3327. Then you're going to set a sell limit this time at 330. As you can see, price came into the zone perfectly, fully layered. So we got our best entry at the 50%. Our stop loss is above the zone up here. as your worst entry is break even or in a small profit, if you're new, without negotiation, without hesitation, remember this position, if you're new, is no longer serving you. It's only increasing your risk. You have a way better entry. So now we're going to take this one out of break even, and you will allow the best entry to run to whatever take profit target you're comfortable with. My advice would be to, at least when it gets to 100 pips, we should be setting on stop loss to break even. That's not to say you can't do it any sooner. It's just that I personally don't do it sooner. So that's the entry models for every single trade. I don't want you to negotiate. I don't want you to be feeling, oh, actually, think this one might run a little bit longer. You're going to use the same strategy time and time again. One more thing before I wrap up, and we open up maybe some questions, is that this week you may have seen an increase in the messaging from me when I personally was setting my stop loss to break even a bit early. Now, for those of you that don't know, we vowed not a long time ago, a while back, to never suggest stop loss to break even. It was actually counterproductive, especially the way we trade with these zones. The more times these zones are tapped in a higher probability of times means actually the signal's stronger, because it means it's tapping out more of the opposite position. Now, when I personally set a stop loss to break even, we are going to do that together. We're not then going to be talking about how a trade moved 500 pips without us. It's only if I am personally making that decision and I want you to do it with me. I want you to trade alongside me. And that is going to allow you to protect your capital and be as highly profitable as possible. I don't say it because I'm over analyzing the trade. If I see signs of reversal or signs that the price is going to come back to our entry and maybe accelerate away from there, then I'm going to be jumping in to stop loss to break even. Now, it's not something I take for granted. It's very rare that I do it, but the market conditions we saw last week were extremely sideways. We had a lot of this movement, up and down, up and down. We had a lot of sideways here, up and down, up and down. So price didn't really have any clear direction. We're not necessarily in a trend per se, because we're not even bearish yet. Even though we've been in a downtrend, should we say, we are actually not technically on bearish on gold until we break this low over here. So we will always advise the best way to protect your capital and the most efficient way to trade. It means I'm doing it, so I want you guys to do it with me. That wraps us up in terms of the training for tonight. I'll open up for questions if there's any of you that want to ask any. Brad, and then if you want to jump in and add anything.
Yeah, for sure, mate. If you want to drop your screen share, mate, I'll jump in.
I need to find a way to get back onto the actual.
There should be a little thing.
What do I need to do?
There should be a thing at the bottom that just says stop screen share.
There you go there.
Yeah, so a few people have asked in regards to like if the pending order doesn't trigger. Don't forget, this isn't necessarily something we've trained on yet. So if you guys haven't, you don't know what buy limits are or sell limits are yet, you might have to just sit there with your phone, because gold does move quick, guys, right? So you're not going to be sat there waiting hours for the market to drop 10, 20, 30 pips sometimes. It's going to trigger you in naturally in minutes. If it's going that way, it'll get you in or out. So again, you don't necessarily need to set buy or sell limits if you're not able to sit at your phone. If you are, just be patient. And if you're finding over and over again that then pending orders aren't triggering, either just set the entry 5 or 6 pips above. But again, you have to be willing to risk what you're risking. A lot of people are like, oh, what should I be doing? What should I be doing this? It's like if we go to casino together, you're asking me, Brad, how much should I put on this spin? How much should I put on this blackjack hand? How much should I... I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's your money. So you almost have to take ownership of what it is that you're doing for your trades, how much risk you want. My risk appetite might be completely different to yours, which might be completely different to Matthew's. So again, if you're missing them entries and you're finding that that's a trigger, that's also a part of your mindset to work on, in my opinion. Like if you're finding that that's triggering you and it's making you act irrationally and you're then over trading, you're entering trades when you shouldn't be entering trades, even sometimes when we're not sending it, that's where then I'd be getting that big journal out and I'd be writing, why the fuck did I enter them trades? Am I here to make money? Is it because my ego? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Like that's the stuff that once you start peeling back the onion skin, if you will, that's where the trader comes out. Because me and Matthew taking trades, there's no emotion. Although I'm working on that still, because my account balance was tasty. So the emotions kick in a little bit higher. But I started over leveraging. I started gambling again. There's a video coming of that very soon because something happened that it shouldn't have done.
So
But
I'll just have a quick look through the chat and I'll just address a couple of questions. If it hits TP1, does Matthew put stop loss to break even or does he let the trade run still? Um, I don't set personally, I don't set stop loss to break even until at least TP2, dependent on market conditions. However, this is a signals group, a trading community. So once a signal hits TP1, the trade is complete from our point of view. We don't register a stop loss. If it delivers value and it hits TP1, or we say at TP1, which means, by the way, it was either at 1 pip away, we say at TP1 because we know people aren't setting TP1 levels. So we need to let you know, by the way, it's at TP1. Right. So what I personally do isn't necessarily what you should ever do, unless it's when I'm telling you specifically stop loss to break even. At the moment, I'm trading with a £900,000 account. You shouldn't base what you choose to do, what your risk tolerance is, based off of what mine is. It's very, very different. If you want to set your stop loss at TP1, that is not a bad idea. But what you might find, and this is where you need to make your own decision, is that price will hit TP1, come back to entry, then go to TP6. That is very, very common with gold at the minute. So the reality is that you need to find your own way with where you're comfortable with TP1 and stop loss to break even, for example.
I think that's a
The
big
other
thing to talk
question,
about. Like,
well,
if the market and the trades are in blue, take some ownership on it. Like, if you're finding that the
yeah,
trades are going up to 30, 40, 50 quid profit and then it's tapping you back out at break even, and you're sat there frustrated thinking, oh, fucking hell, I'm 50 quid up, but I'm now,
yeah.
then set your stop loss to 25 pips above. So, worst case scenario, you make 25 quid. Yes, it might run and do TP 90,463,000, and you're sat there thinking, oh, I could have bought a house. Like, yes, you could, but you've also banked money and it's removed that emotional side of it when it hits break even. Me personally, I do not trade to break even. I enter the market with full risk. If it goes to stop loss, sick. If it goes to take profit, perfect. There's no emotion there. Trading should become boring, mind numbing shit. It's buy and sell. That's it. That's, in my opinion, that is when you can master these markets and you become so numb to the money, in my opinion. Follow me or not.
I mean, personally, that's a great answer. I personally do find trading at times very boring. This is why I do the group because it's a new challenge for me, and I find it easy, and I do find it a bit laborious these days. It's that not to say I'm not extremely passionate about everything I do, but the reason I host these calls, the reason I train people, the reason I'm actually providing the signals is because for me it's a new challenge. It's something more exciting than trading because
Yeah, and it
I'm
also it
so
also
mechanical with it. I
uncovers it
don't feel
also
anything
uncovers
towards a
different
win
parts
or a
of you, right?
loss.
Let's be honest, it also uncovers different parts of you. It brings
Mm-hmm.
different versions of you
Yeah,
out. So, like, as we're growing as
of
humans,
course.
we're also in a position where we need to be challenged because I can launch a business tomorrow and I know I'll make money. Fact. So for us now, this is just a case of building and scaling communities,
Yes.
helping other people around us make money. Because if that happens over and over and over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over again, the more positive Juju that comes into the world fires our way. And again, you'll see people like on here sharing that they blew their account, they lost this. I guarantee if I was to get them on here now talking, they over leveraged, they got themselves into positions that they shouldn't have done. They were buying and selling when they shouldn't have been, and they didn't know what to do with the account. A lot of you on here will have had trades open, and you get to a point where the money is so much in the minus, it's almost like someone's just done this, and this starts going fried. And you cannot control the emotion or the feeling that you've got. And I think when you start to understand that, if you keep putting yourself in that position, that's your own fucking fault. And that is why trading
Mhm.
is the hardest skill set to crack. Because once you start
Yeah.
getting new levels, new little demons start coming out, right? So again, that's why we do these calls. It's not to blow smoke up heebie-jeebie and say, "Oh, the market's killing it," yada yada yada. It's to help people break that psychological barrier down. And Matthew, like he said, his stuff's mechanical, so it works.
Yeah, and I've just looked at another question is when it goes sideways, is it good to re-enter if we're already sitting with a position? No. If you already have the original position in the market and it comes back to your entry, there's absolutely no benefit to entering again. Not even I would do that. If you've closed your original position off at break even, or let's say for example it went to TP1, you've set stop loss at break even. We're moving sideways, so it revisits the zone again. Yes, you can re-enter if that trade has not hit stop loss. The responsibility of that trade is yours. It's your own risk. But as I mentioned in the start, all of our setups are valid until stop loss or TP3. Okay, so if a position is still there and price comes back to it, absolutely not. There's no benefit to entering twice at exactly the same level. You've just doubled your risk for what? The same gain. It doesn't make sense. If you entered and you're out and it comes back to your original entry and you want feel comfortable with the position still being valid, so long as it hasn't hit stop loss, then of course you can re-enter. We don't call re-entries because it's just unreasonable because sometimes there's like nine times, 12 times, 3 times. It's impossible to manage the group in that way. But all of my trades are valid until stop loss or TP3. Now, obviously, if you want to do what you want with that information, but it's so long as it hasn't hit the stop loss, then the trade is still valid if it comes back to
Yeah.
entry.
And also, someone just mentioned there, I'm seeing a lot of stop loss to break even, but on my account, again, your entries are going to be different than ours. How reactive you are bases on where you enter the market. So when we press buy now, sell now, right? If you're going onto your MetaTrader 4 and it's taking you fucking 9 minutes to, I forgot my password, open it up, MetaTrader 5, quotes, yeah, gold, market's gone.
Yeah, it's got to be so
And then
quick.
and then you're pressing trade, then you're putting your stop loss in, you're tabbing back and forth between it's out. You need to have, and if you're going to do it properly, have the Telegram open on one side and MetaTrader 5 open on another. So when it opens, if you know that you're trading, it should straight away, and again, MetaTrader 5 sick, should straight away be open. So in the top right hand corner, it's already tabbed down, and you press bum 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 bum, buy sell buy sell buy sell buy sell buy sell, whatever you want to do. Then go in, modify the position, add your stop loss, add your take profit, because by the time you've dilly dallied around and put in your stop loss and you take profit, yada, 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 it's already run. It's already gone. So that's why some of you are 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 70 pips out sometimes because you like that sloth emoji where it's like, and you've finally done it.
Yeah. Just let's answer two more one because I'm just going through them now. There's what so if the market's sideways again this week, will we likely have approximately 7 stop losses? No one can answer that question for you. If I'm completely honest in regards to that answer, 7 stop losses is high for us. We normally hit 3 or 4 maximum. However, if you look to our risk to reward this week, it was 80 to 2. Or let me put it in layman's terms. So for every $1 I risked, we made $40. That's 10 times the amount of normal groups. Literally, most groups are 1 to 2, 1 to 3. We are 1 to 40. That's insane. It wouldn't matter if we hit 20 stop losses. We are still massively profitable. That can't ever envision that happening. But asking if we're going to hit 7 stop losses pre-market open, I might seem like a gold god, but I'm really not. I'm just a good trader. That's not something anyone can ever answer. And one thing I really need to reiterate: stop losses aren't bad. They're not bad. They're great. They keep us safe. Imagine you crashing your car without a seatbelt on, but crashing the car and having a bit of whiplash. That's what a stop loss is for. It's your friend. The only thing you have in the market that's your friend is your stop loss. Every single candle you see, every single setup is there to take your money. This is what the banks do. They take your money. This is why we trade in line with them. The one thing that's your friend in this game is the stop loss. So they're not negative. We shouldn't be seeing them as negative. They are literally there to keep you safe.
That's it. Just think, you guys love doing overtime, right? To earn more money. So if we see that as the stop loss is in place, you're getting a
Yeah.
bit of extra security, right? So all I can say is, guys, if you keep tuning in, you come every week, you show up, you follow the strategy, you follow the system, you follow what's in front of you, in my opinion, you can't not win at this game. Obviously, your own
No.
emotions, your own psychology, your own kind of past traumas, the things that you've gone through as a kid from your mum, your dad, your granddad, your auntie, your uncle, that's the stuff that's going to come up when you're trading, especially when you start making money. And there will be a financial barrier that you hit where it starts to trigger certain emotions, certain feelings, certain things. So you've just got to be ready for that. And again, I talk about journaling, I talk about mindset all the time. Some people think it's heebie-jeebie bullshit. You think, oh, I'm a grown-ass guy. I don't want to start writing my feelings down on a piece of paper. But again, once you get to a point where you're earning money that you truly believe is life changing, you have to start doing that. From what I've experienced, all the guys that I've met that are making good money, that's what they're doing day to day. So it might be a good time for some of you who are going through the same emotions, the same patterns. You keep getting slapped back in the market, even when other people are winning. Now might be a good time to reassess your thoughts. I don't want to say your feelings, but also sometimes that as well. So, unless there's any more questions you want to cover, mate.
No, I think that's it. I think just one more actually, because I've seen it a few times, so let's address it. Where's it gone? If I had one entry, if you only have one entry and it doesn't layer to the best entry, then yeah, let the trade run. TP1, TP2, TP3, whatever you feel comfortable with. It's the worst and best entry. We only use that if it fully layers. Now there are some of you in the group that will fully layer all through all four entries. If you're doing that, then obviously the answer is completely different because it might not go to the best entry when I'm telling you the two entry rule. If it only gives you as the first entry, then yeah, TP1, 2, or 3, or wherever that trade goes. We can't help if it doesn't fully layer. If you've only got one entry, take partials at TP2, set your stop loss to break even perhaps, and see where the trade goes. But
I'm just going to share something
what
real quick because obviously this is live, so we'll finish the live recording here, and I want you guys to just stay here a second because I want you to see this. So I'm going to stop the recording.